All right. So, unfortunately, I made a big mistake when recording this episode. I left the pop filter for my microphone at home. Normally, I zip it up into the case and I have it in the recording case with me. And this time I opened the case and I realized it wasn't in there. Man, what a disappointment. And that means you're going to hear rumblings and other weird audio nonsense that you normally wouldn't. I did my best in editing, but mixing is not my strong suit, which is why I record in the car, because I'm trying to avoid dealing with something like sirens and wind noise. None of this matters to you. It doesn't, whatever. You just want to know what the movie is. I just wanted you to know what was going on when you listen to this episode, and I apologize in advance. The movie is I Love Boosters. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm leaving the theater. All right, this is Ronald, and I am leaving the theater after seeing I Love Boosters. I Love Boosters, written and directed by Boots Riley, starring Keke Palmer, Naomi Ackie, Taylour Paige, Poppy Liu, Elza Gonzalez, LaKeith Stanfield, Will Poulter, Don Cheadle, and Demi Moore. And per usual, for a complete listing of the cast and crew, you can go to the link in our show notes. It is just me today, and this is one of those films that, once again, I should have brought a guest for, because there is much to discuss. I Love Boosters is, it's so if you've already seen it, you know, you understand what I'm going through right now. I just watched it, and this is always a tough one for leaving the theater, because I probably could use about a day to read think pieces and think about this, but I'm just going to give you my immediate reaction, which is, okay, so what's the movie about? I Love Boosters is about a ring of young women led by Keke Palmer, and it is a ring. It's Taylour Paige, Keke Palmer, and Naomi Ackie. They steal clothes from one particular clothing brand called Metro Designers, which is owned by Demi Moore, and they sell them for cheaper. So they steal the clothes and then they sell the clothes, and they're trying to get themselves out of a perpetual cycle of poverty and or trying to make ends meet. And they actually sell clothes to the community, and because the clothes are cheaper, it's easier for the community to have access to clothes. There's definitely some community building aspect in this, Robin Hood-esque, if you will. It is set in a universe that is much like ours, like parallel, either ours or parallel to ours, in which workers that work in factories are in tough working conditions, and people who work retail are not treated well. Everyone's suffering. They are subject to the whims of capitalism in a way that you probably have grown accustomed to in your own life. And the clothing brand that they're stealing from, as I mentioned before, is from a woman named Christine something or another, played by Demi Moore. She owns Metro Designer. And just quick note about the way Demi Moore plays this role. She plays it excellently. Think of Dove Charney from American Apparel. That's what I'm getting from her. A little bit of Elon Musk, very much self-prescribed, visionary, genius. And yeah, so that's the plot of the movie, okay? I liked it. I liked this movie. I liked it. I have discovered the thing with Boots Riley is I watched Sorry to Bother You, and I felt like Sorry to Bother You while I watched it and immediately said this was a very good movie. Obviously, there were things in here that really made me think, that made me pause, and parts of the movie for me hit harder than the whole of the movie. Meaning that there's portions of it that I think about a lot, but when it gets to its point, it kind of felt like the big main point of it is hamstrung by what I am now referring to as distractions from Boots Riley. So his movies are very silly and fun. They present something that is serious and pervasive as silly and fun. And I don't mean lighthearted like that Animal Farm movie where they're taking serious concepts and watering them down into nothing. I mean, he sees the humor in what it is, and he picks people that can perform the humor. LaKeith Stanfield. I'm blanking on that guy's name who was in Coming to America 2, the main character. Completely blanking on his name. But y'all can Google him. You know who I'm talking about. He's the main character in it. He is not Eddie Murphy or Arsenio Hall. He's the son. Blanking on his name. He's a very popular comedian, and now it's bothering me, so I'm going to have to Google it right now, but I'm going to have to vamp while I'm doing it, which means that I have to stretch out as many of the sentences as I can before Jermaine Fowler. Jermaine Fowler is, he's in Sorry to Bother You. He's also a little bit in I Love Boosters as well. Boots Riley does a good job of picking performers who can lean into the material and actually perform well. What I like about I Love Boosters is that Keke Palmer is one of the greatest performers of our generation. There's an Oscar in her future, should she want one. She's picking roles that she likes. She is very pro-Black in her selections. I mean, last year it was just one of them days. This year it's I Love Boosters. A couple years ago it was Nope. She's picking good filmmakers that are allowing her to remain true to herself as a performer. And in this one, what she's giving is there's a lot of silliness going on around her. And she's caught in what Boots Riley does, which is a lot of surrealism. But she is grounding the movie with her acting. She grounds the movie with her acting, where Demi Moore is kind of playing it from like just a huge supervillain turn. You know, there's some subtlety to it, but mostly she's just a big bad billionaire that's making money. She's the bad guy. She's the villain. Keke Palmer is the Robin Hood. She's the boots on the ground. She is the person that when we turn to her, even if something surreal has been happening or if something surreal is happening to her, I am able to refocus my attention on the plot of the movie, which she does a good job of bringing forward. And to some extent, Taylour Paige and Naomi Ackie are doing this as well. They're also main characters, but we're with Keke Palmer the whole time. They're also with her, but we're more from her perspective, if that makes any sense. Having both of them there, having their faces there, having them all work together, there was something that was very magical about these women all being in a film together. They have separated them and not purpose and not with intention, but they have all been in other movies. Naomi Ackie has been in several movies. She was in the Bong Joon-ho film from last year. The one with Robert Pattinson. I'm not going to Google this. Y'all know what it is. She was in that one last year, but I'm thinking about her being in the movie Don't Blink and being the star of that movie. Then I'm thinking about Taylour Paige being in Zola, and she's probably been in stuff since then, but that's the one that's standing out to me. And I'm thinking about those two lending themselves as supporting actresses in this. It's good seasoning. It's good seasoning. The acting in this film is really good. And because the acting is good, they're able to ground the movie. So then when any silliness happens, LaKeith Stanfield comes and has a very kind of out of this world role, literally. But these three are able to bring it back to something that's super grounded. Boots Riley does what I like to call distractions, where there's sometimes he'll do something that is so wild or so, it's just so outlandish that you almost, all of your thoughts are, what am I watching? What is this movie? I got to turn this off. And one of the most outlandish things that happens in the film is featuring LaKeith Stanfield and an act that he's doing. However, when we're done with that, right when I'm about to feel stunned, it cuts back to Keke Palmer and Naomi Ackie having a conversation about what just happened. And both of them just, two jokes, just boom, boom, that immediately broke the tension of what we had just seen. One of them says something and then responds, Keke says something else, and it's just, it immediately grounds it. Now, I know that's a feat of writing, but it's also a feat of performance. It's also a feat of performance. But that brings me to my point about Boots Riley, which is that I think that when he gets to the point of this film, I really agreed with him. There are ways in which he was speaking. Obviously, there is a device in this film called a situational accelerator, which it's almost like naming a MacGuffin in a movie the MacGuffin. It just feels very much like that. As soon as I heard those words, I thought, oh, this is going somewhere. And I feel like when the movie gets to its terminal point, I remember thinking, now, I will say there's a couple things that you do, Boots Riley, that are distracting. You do these other things that are outlandish or very disgusting or very big and in your face and completely unbelievable. You take something that is a surreal device, something that should be very, not innocuous, but something that should just be referenced and or looked at or pointed to because your audiences are smart, and you make it big and scary. Like if he said the elephant in the room, but it's a monstrous mutant elephant that's just bashing around everything, we still know that that's the elephant in the room. But because you made it so much, we're now not able to engage with it in a way that could be nuanced or not quite so big, or allow us to say, he bashes you over the head with something, and then sometimes it just turns out to be a big mutant elephant and not the elephant in the room. It's just a distraction. And I feel like Sorry to Bother You had so many of those that by the time I got to the end, I remembered getting up and being like, I'm not sure what I just watched. I know I liked parts of it. I don't know if I liked the whole of it. Whereas with this one, he stays more in the pocket. There are distractions. There are big, weird things that happen. However, if you stick with the movie, when it gets to the terminal point, there is one line that's uttered, which I will tell you, and it's, we're all on the same side of the contradiction. And I remembered saying, thank you. That's all I needed. I just needed that one thing to bring it together. And once he did that, I remember thinking, yes, okay, you're going to land the plane. I know I feel like it's going to go in a spot that makes sense. And it did. And so it then makes the whole film all of a sudden, and I will watch this again. I know I will watch this again. So you already know one possible score that it has. So when you get to that point, it makes the whole trip worthwhile. Several people wanted me to review this movie. Several people wanted to know my opinion on it. And with all of that being said, I think this is a 3.99 of 5-star movie. Now, typically I would say, like, I think 3.99 is kind of a new way that I'm saying the same thing I say about a 2.99 star movie, which is that a 2.99 star movie is, it was fine, but I don't want to watch it again. This one, I definitely want to watch it again. But I think the thing that turns it into like a 4.5 star movie or even a 5-star movie are just even more disciplined with the distractions. Now, I wouldn't say this to Boots Riley because I don't want him to hamstring his art. I want him to continue evolving as a filmmaker because he's already come so far from what he did with Sorry to Bother You to this. I will watch anything that he makes. Random Acts of Flyness was not my favorite, but he continues to evolve and he's doing very off the wall, out of this world stuff. And I think that he has the capability to be the type of filmmaker that we elevate. there's plenty of other filmmakers doing surreal, weird stuff. Yorgos Lanthimos is celebrated for doing weird, outlandish stuff. He's constantly in the Oscar conversation. I don't know why Boots Riley can't be, because I didn't like Begonia, but I liked I Love Boosters. So 3.99, I think there's more discipline and further for him to go. Probably the more that I think about it, it could land at a 4.25. But right now, I just think there was some stuff that felt ultimately so distracting. It really just got to a point where I was just like, all right, that's enough. Just let's hasten on. And when he did hasten on, I was satisfied about where we went, but there was a couple times where I thought, I don't know why I have to see this. Why do I have to watch this part? I don't know why I have to do that. So yeah, I think it's 3.99 of 5 stars. I think you should see it. I think if you are into surrealism, if you like I Think You Should Leave, if you like Atlanta, if you are into especially Black surrealist works, and I said I think you should leave, but I just think if your mindset is already set for the funny things that happened with distractions from Tim Robinson, then Boots Riley should not be that much of a bridge for you. So if you're thinking about this movie, if you were thinking, oh, I might go see it, I think it's worth seeing. I think it's worth seeing in theaters. There's a lot of stuff about people walking out of the movie and all that. And I don't know why you went to a Boots Riley film if you did not expect it to get a little weird, so it makes me question what exactly this campaign is against Boots Riley in this film. But 3.99 of 5 stars. I liked it. And that score could increase the more I think about it, but that's where I am right now. And with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of Oh, It's Big Ron Studios. I mixed this episode and I am working very hard. We are in the summer months of Leaving the Theater. You're still getting an episode every single week, which means I am planning, prepping, writing, recording, editing, posting, and promoting an episode every single week. If you listen to this, you're a regular listener, you like engaging with my opinions, you like engaging with the way in which I engage with film, then you are important to me. And I like to be in conversation with you. And I am working hard to put this show out every single week. I'm even thinking about a video just to expand the reach of the audience. Not quite there yet, but I'm thinking about it. Not quite there yet, but I'm thinking about it. But if I go in that direction, it's going to be more work, more labor. It is a labor of love, but it is still labor. If that means something to you, please join the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/ohitsbigron or go to the link in our show notes. Show art from Heather Wilder. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. For more information about I Love Boosters, check out our show notes. You can follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, Threads, or Letterboxd at Oh It's Big Ron. That's at OHITSBIGRON. You can find out more about this show and other Oh It's Big Ron Studio shows by following us on Instagram at Oh It's Big Ron Studios. Leaving the Theater will be back soon. Thanks for listening. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm the elephant in the room, but it's a monstrous mutant elephant that's just bashing around everything.